you will always love hip-hop. Keep it flowing like a river, so I drip drop. Verses and bars, we eating dinner with the stars. Excuse me while I float away, my brain is on Mars. Cause it's the Big Kidz podcast with Chris Williams. Sit back, relax, like your spliff, we in the building.
This one is about the MAGA rallies, the presidential rallies that President Trump is so famous for.
He said every child's name that was shot and rang a bell for them. Now, that is what a president does.
What about getting a department that can look at young men that's looking at women, that's looking at just social media? What about doing that, looking into things like that, and we can stop that way?
This is not about virtue cycling and signing.
Fear of being stigmatized.
Fake meat that grows in a Peachtree dish.
And there are 300-something million people, 400 million guns. You don't see that as a problem?
No.
Let me tell you the truth about the enemies of the Second Amendment. They are schooled in the ways of Marx and Lenin.
These are the exact same people that want to murder unborn children in the womb by dismemberment all the way up to birth. But yet now all of a sudden we're supposed to believe that they care about children.
It's the gun-free school zones, Tucker. Those are the biggest problems.
At the end of the day, we're going to look at the people who do these acts, we're going to convict them, and we're going to punish them.
Sir, you can't convict him. He was killed.
He's dead.
He was killed along with 19 children in the school behind me.
Hi, I'm Mike Crispy, and I'm running for U.S. Congress because we need to put election integrity first. That starts with ending ballot drop box.
He's a tough guy. He doesn't want to do it. He doesn't want to run into a nest of illegal aliens that happen to like knives very much.
There has been still no evidence or proof provided that there was any sort of fraud in that.
Well, no, that's wrong. I don't know why you people in the media keep saying that, but that is absolutely false.
Yo, 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 this is Chris Williams, and welcome back to another episode of the Big Kidz podcast. Now, I'm sorry that you guys had to watch that, but don't you think it's absolutely hilarious what those people deem as important? Not the fact that there's a whole bunch of deaths going on, and especially since it's the summer, or about to be the summer, this is how it always goes, and they are really willing to blame every single thing besides having some sort of gun control. Now, we've talked about this over the past couple weeks because this is what's been going on, but we have to continue to talk about it because this is something that really pisses me off because it doesn't make any sense. As a normal human being, a normal person, I shouldn't even say normal, just a person that has seen things with their own fucking eyes, who has been around things that probably could have been avoided being around, and you see that this gun shit is out of control. Most people know somebody that should not own a gun. We also know people that probably are responsible gun owners. And talking about this last week, this is the part that gets me. I do not understand why the responsible gun owners take it so personally when the conversation about gun control comes up. The conversation about having background checks and potentially having to have annual background checks and having to have people in your community okay that you have these fucking guns. And just reasonable things. Nobody is saying that they want to take your guns. At least anybody that matters is not saying that. We all know that you need your guns. You quote unquote need your guns. But if you need your guns, you should be A-okay with being responsible with having those guns. And again, this is coming from somebody that has no desire for a gun. Maybe that's a certain privilege that I possess, that where I don't feel the need to have a gun. But that's me. But again, I'm willing to work with you people on this. Just like the Democrats who themselves own guns are willing to work with you. I was listening to the David Pakman show yesterday, and he said in Japan, you can own a gun, but there is 3 times a year where you can register to have those guns and re-register to have those guns. So it's not like you just walk in on a Saturday and you can get a gun on a Sunday. That's not how it works. And again, if you care about it this much, you will take the time to do it. This is a constant theme on this show from episode 1 to episode 109. You spend the time and money on the things that you care about. And if you care about having a gun, if you care about the right to carry and conceal, you will take the appropriate steps. And when people don't take the appropriate steps, you will hold them accountable. And holding them accountable does not mean you go out and shoot them. What the fuck is wrong with you? Holding them accountable means you G-check them. You get on board with legislation that does not allow people that don't want to follow the rules to get a gun. And you cannot tell me, yes, I'm sure there's other ways to go about curbing gun violence other than just putting restrictions on guns. But at a certain point, you got to have the conversation about what the hell we're doing with the actual guns. Not what we're doing with the front door. Not what we're doing with all the other doors in the building. Not keep blaming mental health while at the same time continuously over and over and over and over again voting against funding mental health. You don't want to have universal background checks. You don't want to fund mental health in whatever manner that may be, because I'm sure there's 100 million ways you could spend money on mental health. But you don't want to do nothing. You guys don't even have your own ideas. Your own idea is make it so there's one door in and out of the building. Don't you think that would probably make it even just a little bit easier? You take out the dude at the front door, and now what? And we talked about teachers having guns and janitors having guns. That is an absolute terrible idea. Why? Because we are humans. Humans take shit real personal, and when you got a 16-year-old asshole running down the hallway talking shit to you, might run into you, might do some shit you don't like, I'm just saying, I'm sure there's a few people who are ready to pull the gat on them. I'm sure there's a few teachers and janitors that when you're demeaned and these kids that don't know shit act like they're better than you, I'm sure that there's the desire to do something more than just take that. Okay, so that's why it's an absolute terrible fucking idea to do that. How about we just make it harder to get guns? And will that absolutely get rid of mass shootings and homicide by shootings? No, but I guarantee it will severely decrease it. If you can't buy a gun online or go to Georgia, get a gun, and now you're straight in like 24, 25, 26 states in America, you just got to go down to like Georgia, Florida, and they all respect each other's gun laws. So once you go into these other states, you're fine. So that wild, wild west approach of whatever hey, fuck it, he came down to Florida, got a gun, it was legally bought. That is like real fucking wild, wild west. That is real unsustainable if you're trying to actually do something about mass shootings and homicide by gun. There is no way in the world you should be able to go buy a gun in Florida, Georgia, go to Texas, and everything's all good. You can't even do that shit with a car. You got like a certain amount of time before you got to re-register your shit and talk to your insurance. And, like, yo, this shit is crazy. How freely this is just bought, sold, maneuvered, trafficked. Come on, man. You got people that are going down south buying guns because they're a lot cheaper, and then coming up probably scratching serial numbers and then reselling it. And that's how guns are getting out onto the streets illegally. Now, responsible gun owners should be 100% backing background checks. Backing, if you want this gun, you got to do an X amount of training per year to continue to have that gun. If you don't do it, yes, we're coming to take your shit. If you bought something on credit and you don't keep up with it, what the fuck happens? Layaway, or not layaway, fucking Rent-A-Center is coming to get their shit. Aaron's is coming to get their shit. It doesn't matter if you paid 80% of it and you still got 20%, but if you haven't paid that 20% for a certain amount of time, they're coming to get that shit. And that's how it should be with guns. If you're supposed to re-register your shit July 18th, and now we're in September and you still haven't done it, we coming to get your shit. Because apparently you don't possess the mental capacity to fucking own this gun. But guys, don't worry. Do not worry. We have ways to deal with this, and I'm going to show you right now.
Do you want to talk about how we could have prevented the horror that played out across the street? Look, the killer entered here the same way the killer entered in Santa Fe. Through a back door, an unlocked back door. I sat down at round tables with the families from Santa Fe. We talked about what we need to do to harden schools, including not having unlocked back doors, including not having unlocked doors to classroom, having one door that goes in and out of the school, having armed police officers at that one door. And one of the things that everyone agreed is don't have all of these unlocked back doors. Have one door into and out of the school, and have that one door armed police officers at that door. If that had happened, if those federal grants had gone to this school, when that psychopath arrived, the armed police officers could have taken him out, and we'd have 19 children and 2 teachers still alive.
Now, you guys realize that Cancun Ted is suggesting something that was already happening. There were cops on the scene that didn't rush in to do what everyone expected them to do. And guys, let's be real. I think it's a lot easier for these people to just say things. Just say, let's give people guns. Guns don't just automatically make somebody brave. Guns don't just automatically make you willing to put your life at risk. Them cops were apparently shitting their pants and wanted nothing to do with it. And that is why I'm not no damn cop. That's why most of us aren't cops. We're not ready to put our life on the line. We're not ready to die today. So to just simply say putting a gun in somebody's hand is going to thwart a mass shooting, putting more cops in the school is just going to get rid of a mass shooting. You understand, this man came in the school with AR-15s and cops have handguns. They're down before they can even get to their gun if that was the case. So let's just keep giving people guns. Let's just keep giving people guns. That sounds like a man who is endorsed by the NRA and gets money from the NRA and doesn't want to say anything bad or hold them accountable because they might take the little bit of funding he's getting from them. That's craziness. That is madness. How you could be so beholden to somebody that you refuse to say anything. I guarantee you, if that was Ted Cruz's kids, he would be having a different tone instead of that fake ass soap opera tone he's trying to put on for the camera. Guys, and I got more clips for you guys. This is gonna be an episode with a lot of clips, like we're back on episode 28, because now I know how to really do them now. So I'm messing around with it, and what better to show clips of than politician hypocrisy? Because guys, they don't give a fuck. They're talking about taking away a woman's right to choose to have an abortion or not. but they're not ready to help take care of those kids. They want to talk about gun control or scratch that. Let me strike that from the record. These fucking people will give every excuse, every solution. They will get super creative in every way that they possibly can, more creative than they've ever been in their whole entire lives, to come up with reasons why we should not put restrictions on certain guns, reasons why we should not do background checks. Guys. And then when something bad happens, what do? I'm going to show you right now what they do when it's time to pay the Pied Piper. When it's time to answer for not doing your job. When you not having any ideas besides putting more guns in people's hands, what the outcome is. This is how they deal with it, guys.
I just want to understand why you do not think that guns are the problem.
Why is this just an American problem?
I'm so deeply sorry for your loss, but I'm going to go on.
Why not expand background checks?
Guys, simple question. Why not an expanded background check at the very bare minimum? Why not? Now, I do have some Marjorie Taylor Greene shit that I want to get into, because her takes on things are, it's so mind stimulating. It makes you really think. It makes you really understand the plight of the white supremacist. You really start to understand how hard they have when you listen to Marjorie Taylor Greene. That these people are just so upset, so mad, because they're the real victims here. They're the ones that every single day have to go out and explain what their grandfathers and ancestors have done throughout American history. They have to go out and explain it every day. But guys, the reality of the situation is that is not how life is. Yes, there's a bunch of ignorant ass people that want to act like the white people of today were the problem 180 years ago, 200 years ago. Yeah, they want to do that, but that's not the case. Black people are not walking around asking you to kiss our damn ass all the time. At least reasonable ones aren't. We're not walking around acting like you owe me something. Motherfucker, we know you got it rough too. All we're trying to get across to you is things may be a little rougher sometimes. We might not get the same shake, the same fair circumstances as you get on certain things. We're not asking you to change the fucking to reinvent the wheel here. We're just asking you to realize that that's how things are. When you go into a bank, the chances of you getting a loan are a couple percentage points higher than me getting a loan. I gotta come a little more correct than you. That's all we're asking. That is all we're asking. So when people point out the problem, that is white supremacy, and you have excuses for it, I gotta kind of think that you're probably a white supremacist too. Because when people start to poke holes in your bubble, everyone lives in a bubble, their own bubble. When people start to poke holes in the bubble that you live in, you usually take it personally. So if people are starting to poke holes at why white supremacist is a bad thing, why white supremacy is a bad thing, and why the whole idea of it has created problems for us as a country, is such a revolting clutch my pearls discussion to have for you, Marjorie, I have to think it's because you sympathize. At the very least, you sympathize with them. When you don't think that being upset that you're not going to be in the majority because there's people having sex with other ethnicities, you got Mexican people having sex with Asian people, you got Asian people having sex with black people, you got white people having sex with Asian people, etc., which ultimately is going to create babies that aren't white. And even when we say white, you motherfuckers be about 28 different things too. So you ain't even pure white either, you white supremacist motherfuckers. But I digress off of that point. So you're upset that the world is going to look different? Why are you that mad? How are you that mad? What has brought you to this point of being that mad? And to be somebody that sticks up for that. And guys, I'm going to play you a clip of her in a minute. And then I'm going to save her story of when there was a shooting at her school for the very end of the episode, before the outro. I'm not even going to comment on it, guys. I'm just going to play it for you at the very end of the episode, and I just want you to think about it. Everything that I've just said, I just want you to think about it. No context. I'll pick up next week's episode by commenting on that last clip. But I'm just gonna put it out there for you guys to think about. For you guys to really, truly try to come to some understanding why somebody would be so against getting this white supremacy movement that's going on under control. Not making it okay anymore. Because listen, there was a time, and I don't think it'll ever be a time where white supremacists aren't a thing as long as there's white people. I think there will always be some sort of a subgroup that will practice that bullshit. But I would like to go back to the times where that shit just wasn't okay to flaunt. Keep that shit behind closed doors. I don't give a fuck about what you got going on in your life, why you're so upset about life not being fair. Guys, life ain't fair for fucking nobody. Keep it moving. But keep that shit in between the four walls that you call home. As soon as Donald Trump became president, that shit became okay to just flaunt, to just say out in the open, to make an argument for why they feel the way that they feel. That's a crock of shit. That is a crock of shit. And as long as we continue to allow people, continue to vote in people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, it will always be a thing. And we'll always have to fight it. We'll always have to combat. We'll always have to have our own talking points for it. Because that's the thing. Guys, you do not send your kid to school without comebacks ready. You do not send your kid to school just to fend for themselves. You have talks. If somebody says this to you, this is what you got to say back. If somebody thinks they can crack jokes regarding this, that, and the third, this is what you need to say back to them. You got to be ready to go. Because if you're not ready to go, the loudest, most obnoxious person in the room will always win. If you're not ready to have your own counterpoints, the loudest, most obnoxious person will always win. And it doesn't matter if what they're saying is factual. It doesn't matter if it even makes sense. It doesn't matter if it follows any string of logic. If they got points to make and you have no points, you lost. Game over. And this is why I think it's important to make sure that you read. 10-15 minutes a day, you stay up on shit, you don't gotta read opinion pieces, but you gotta know what the hell's going on a little bit. You have to, because if I promise you, if you don't take up that space, of having some sort of an idea of what's going on, somebody's gonna swallow that space. Somebody's gonna take that from you. If you believe that the gas prices are the way that the gas prices are right now because that's what Joe Biden wants, You think Joe Biden wants to have to answer that dumb shit every day? If you think that the gas prices are the way that the gas prices are because Joe Biden shut down the Keystone XL pipeline, you don't know what the fuck the Keystone XL pipeline was. And people who bring that argument up, they don't know what the hell it is. The Keystone XL pipeline was not a means, was not a way for us to get oil. The Keystone XL pipeline was a way to transport oil. Two completely different fucking things. Now you have gas companies sitting on permits, not digging, because they have a stockpile of gas that they could sell us at whatever fucking price they want. Why? Because last week the Republicans, damn near every single one of them, voted against putting into law that the gas companies cannot price gouge. Meaning they can't just sell it for whatever the fuck they want to sell it for. And who was against that? The Republicans. So you could thank them for the way that things are right now. But I digress because I'm trying to stick to Marjorie Taylor Greene, but this is also dumbass talking points that she's brought up. This is also some dumb shit she's brought up. But before I get too far down the line, I do want you guys to listen to the dumb shit that she had to say regarding labeling white supremacists. Enjoy, guys.
Jail. I mean, sorry, not on the jail, on the bill for this domestic terrorism new bill that came out for the Department of Justice. And Jerry Nadler was on the House floor and he was talking about white supremacy, and he was bringing up the terrible shooting that happened in New York, but totally ignoring the shooting that happened in California that I think involved an Asian man that was the shooter, totally ignoring the guy that drove his car, black man that drove his car through a Christmas parade, killing people and was a racist himself, completely ignoring the black man that did the New York subway shooting. You know, these people are all guilty of these crimes. And it's not about race. It shouldn't be about race, but they're clearly racist as well. So white supremacy shouldn't be the main target. We should be more concerned about the illegal invasion at the border, the crime happening every single day on our streets, and especially in cities like Chicago. We should go after criminals that break the law and not pursue people based on their skin color and how they vote. But that's.
So did you listen to that? She literally just said we shouldn't base what we focus on the color of people's skin, but then listed off a black man, an Asian. I thought none of that mattered. I thought a crime was a crime no matter who did it. See, so you're over here trying to act like the Democrats, when all of those things went down with an Asian man, with a black man, did not have a pretty similar amount of energy put out towards it. They were saying the same shit back then. There needs to be gun control. Now, did some of these people have 180-page manifestos talking about why they did what they did? No, some of them really did have mental issues, but that did not mean that we just keep making excuses for why they did what they did. You try to address it. The only way you can address it is with time and money. Putting money towards mental health. Putting the time in to learn about mental health. Especially if that's what you're gonna fucking try to use to take the focus from guns and white supremacists to mental health. Then you should be spending the time and money on it. But she refuses to do that. She just wants to blow hot air out of her ass, tell you guys it smells like flowers. A lot of people believe it smells like flowers, and life just continues on for Marjorie Taylor Greene. She gets to keep on throwing out these crazy ass conspiracies and ideas about how it's everybody but the white supremacist that's a problem. She gets to fucking keep throwing out the bullshit like every other politician besides her and a couple others aren't the problem. No, it is people exactly like you that want to talk about shit that they don't know about, don't even want to fess up to the fact of not knowing about it. You want to act like you're a goddamn professional at something when you're clearly not. When you're clearly not. Everything about her, that minute, however long statement that was, had to do with race. Had to do with race. Pointing out the problem at the Mexican border. She's talking about Mexicans. Talking about violence and crimes in big democratic cities like Chicago. You're talking about black people. But God forbid we start talking about the white guy that lives out in the country that interacts with black people on a very minimal basis that absolutely hates them. Let's not bring him up. Let's not bring him up. Let's not bring up the white guy that wants to steal hip hop and rap music and make it country rap, but at the same time hates black people and wants to kill black people and takes the time to put out hundreds of pages of manifestos talking about how you're gonna do such. Let's not worry about them. Let's worry about the poor Mexicans trying to figure out how the hell they're gonna start their life once they cross the border. Let's not even think about why motherfuckers are up in Chicago shooting each other, because people that have something to look forward to and have something that's gonna occupy their time positively, they're typically the ones that are shooting each other, right? So instead of trying to learn actually why these things are happening, we're just gonna talk shit. We're not even gonna try to learn why the things are the way that they are. We're just gonna talk shit. We're just gonna base absolutely every single thing that we do on how I feel, how it makes me feel. Like, yo, man, even back in the day, even back in the 70s, 80s, when you know there was full-blown KKK members, white supremacists on Congress, in the Senate, you know they were out there. There's no way in the world that they weren't. They were still moving towards civil rights. They were, as a whole, they had to have had enough votes because the shit got passed. So even back then, they tried to at least act like they gave a fuck. At least enough of them for the bills to pass. Nowadays, we're just right up front with ours, huh? Don't worry about my cousin. Worry about the Mexican. Don't worry about my daddy. Worry about that motherfucker in Chicago. You're trying to point fingers at everything. Besides what a problem actually is. What is the root of the problem? The root of the problem is how easy it is to get guns and the lack of opportunity in these big democratic cities. Listen, if you guys were going to make things so much better, do you really truly believe that you guys wouldn't be running these cities? If your guys' real goal was to improve people's lives, you would be running these big cities. You have no desire to make anyone's life better. You have no desire to try to actually give back, or even at this point, act like you want to give back. Because I don't believe all these Democrats got the betterment of the whole in mind, the betterment of the people in their city in mind, but at the very least, they will fake it. You motherfuckers won't even fake it. And if you won't fake it, I sure as hell know you ain't gonna do nothing. If you don't care enough to fake it. Listen, guys, imagine you having sex with somebody. Imagine you having sex with somebody and it ain't good. And they won't even fake it. They like you as a person, you know, you guys are cool, whatever, and they won't even fake it. Imagine how you would feel. Like, yo, I can't even get a fake moan. I can't get none of that. I can't get. So what you gonna do? Oh, you're just gonna do nothing. Oh, okay. All right, that's gonna work. That's gonna work. Listen, my new shit this week, because I'm trying to come up with my. I'm a biter when it comes to, stealing people's phrases. Like, that motherfucker don't know his ass from his elbow, shit like that. I'm sure there's a more there's a proper word I could use for that, but it's not coming to me right now. But my new little saying this week is, what's a billion times zero? Zero. So it doesn't matter what one side gives. It doesn't matter if one side gives their all, gives everything, gives 1,000,000,000%. If I gotta multiply that by zero, it doesn't matter. This shit is still going to be zero. So don't try to just blame the whole problem on one side when your ass has no ideas. Your ideas are to turn schools into prisons. Your idea is to make women that, I'm assuming, not 100%. I'm never talking absolutes on here. But the reason why they're probably seeking to get an abortion is because they probably can't afford to have a kid. I gotta say, that's probably up there on reasons why people don't have kids. But you're gonna make them have kids and then act like you don't know them after. Act like you don't know them. Nah, you guys don't need food stamps. No, you guys don't need child tax credits. No, you guys don't need this, that, and the third. Now, if all you Republicans actually knew how your congressmen and senators that you voted for actually got down, instead of solely basing it off of trivial shit that does not matter. If you really care that these Democrats are trying to make a space for everyone to feel included, and that makes you that upset that you're gonna rock with these people, listen, I get if you're one of them. I could understand if you're one of them. If you're eating dinner at their tables, if they're letting you in on the insider trading that they're doing. I get all that if you rock with them then. But these are the same people that would not piss on you if you were on fire. Ted Cruz, soap opera Ted, his state was freezing to death. People were dying, and this motherfucker had the audacity to hop on a plane and go to Cancun in Mexico. In Mexico, where you're saying all these bad people are coming from, you hopped your fat ass on a plane and you went to Mexico. What can you do with that? What can we do with that? What's 100? What's 100 billion? What's a trillion times zero? Fucking ridiculous. All right. Enough of them until I play that Fox News clip I'm gonna play for you guys at the end of the episode. This shit is just crazy. It's fucking crazy. These people are so full of shit. And speaking of people being full of shit, the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial came to a conclusion. Now I'm gonna give you guys my observations, not coming from a motherfucker that knows his ass from his elbow in regards to trial law. But I've spent enough time being plugged in to know just as much as the next dickhead knows, alright? So, to make a long story short, they both technically won. Alright? Now, Johnny, they answered yes. Anything that pertained to Johnny's case against Amber Heard, the jury answered yes to it. They ended up rewarding him a total of $15 million. But the way that I guess it works in Virginia, one of the claims that was worth $5 million can only actually be $350,000. I can't remember what the technical term was. I'm, again, not a fucking lawyer here. Talking to you as a average Joe. But that was brought down to $350,000. Now, I wonder if the jury knew that, if they would have rewarded the other settlement that was $10, if they would have rewarded that more, put that extra, $4.5 million towards that one, but they didn't. Whatever. I don't know how the fuck that works, how that process works. But so he was rewarded 15. He's really getting $10,350,000 from Amber. But at the same time, she won a case regarding one of Johnny's publicists, or somebody that worked for Johnny that put out a fucking hit piece together. She got rewarded $2 million in the countersuit for that. So I guess we could chalk that up as a win for Amber, or we could say it's a discount. She got a little discount on what she got to pay Johnny. So yeah, Johnny, when it's all said and done, is getting a little over $8 million, which I am sure he is thrilled about. He got his divorce settlement back from her. He got enough to pay his lawyers, and he got his fucking mojo back. And I think, honestly, that's what it was all about. If he could have broke even on this, and I'm sure he didn't even break even with 8. I think this was more of a symbolic thing, because I don't know how much he spent on lawyers throughout the years, and however, whatever. I think this was more symbolic. This is like in Austin Powers Goldmember, where Austin lost his mojo. Or is it Goldmember or Goldfinger? Goldfinger, right? Austin Powers Goldfinger, where he loses his mojo and he's got to get it back. I think this was that for Johnny. He got his mojo back. That motherfucker wasn't even in the courtroom. He was over in England doing concerts with Beck. Now, I don't really know no Beck music, but I know Beck's a motherfucking rock star. I know Beck's a rock star. So that's what Johnny was doing while Amber was in that courtroom, stressed, thinking about how she should have never wrote that article. Thinking about how she should have never lied. See, guys, listen, that is when faking it until you make it backfires, because she's probably fucked. I don't even know if she's worth $8 million. I don't even know how that payment works, but I know that shit hurts. If you say you make fucking 40 grand a year and you gotta pay someone 80 grand, you know what I'm saying? Like, that shit probably hurts. You just took on a mortgage plus some. And she was in there stressed, thinking about, I should have never said a goddamn thing. We both were fucking bugging. We should have just left it alone. Why? Like, listen, football coaches, a lot of times they never played football. Basketball coaches, they probably didn't play basketball. Sportscasters, sure as hell, probably never played the sport. So for you to be a domestic violence advocate does not mean that you got to make up stories about him doing some of the things that you said that he did to you. You could just go be a DV advocate. DV advocates will be more than happy to have the woman that plays in Aquaman as one of their spokespeople. You don't got to try to gas up the story. You don't got to try to WWE this. You could just go do it. And that shit backfired. And I know she woke up this morning stressed, pissed off. And this was honestly a case about who the jury believed. And when you go up there and you say every single other person is lying besides me, every single fucking person is lying besides me, that does not look good. That does not look good. When your witnesses can't hold your story together for you, can't speak to the character that you are, that does not look good for you. So, again, I believe Johnny is a fucking weirdo. I do believe that. I do believe that. I'm sure he had his part in this, but that's my point. He was ready to wipe his hands clean and walk away from the situation, wish you the best, have a little bit of fallout, because that's what the fuck happens when people break up, but, eventually be able to move on like adults. She was not trying to do that. She was trying to make a whole nother career, way more lucrative than the career she already had, because them public speaking gigs are real. Them shits pay nice for an hour of work. That's the type of life she was trying to set herself up for, and it backfired. And now, let's be real. Can she be a spokesperson for DV now? Even if it did happen to her, could she honestly be a spokesperson? You got caught in some sort of a lie. The law said that you were lying. The law said that you were taking advantage of the situation. That's what the law said. So I can't sponsor that shit. Like, I don't know if I want to go see Aquaman. And again, guys, I don't even get down like that. I don't be into boycotting people, and because I don't give a fuck. But this shit went through the law. This went through the law, and we saw her ass was lying. Most shit is just someone's opinion. Like, while this is still someone's opinion, this opinion is a little more valid than the average Joe throwing some shit on Instagram. The law, the court system said your ass did this to try to level up. You made up these stories to try to level up. And I can't get down with that, man, because there really is people out here getting fucked up. There is really true. I promise you, as we speak, someone is getting their fucking ass whipped in a relationship right now. But then you got people that are lying. People that are trying to cover their ass for whatever reason, because everyone has their own reasoning for shit. Everyone has their own motives for shit. But there's people out here lying about getting their ass whipped to get attention, to get a like on Facebook, whatever the case may be. And those types of people make it hard for the general public to believe when it's actually happening. And it is actually happening as we speak. The things Amber said that Johnny did to her with a fucking liquor bottle is actually happening to somebody right now. And you lied about it. And you lied about it so you can act like you're morally superior. You're actually, that's the worst type of person. That is really, truly the worst type of person that will put on a circus, that will Jesse Smollett this shit, act like something actually happened when it did not happen, so you could get attention. You're that thirsty for attention. Honestly, I'm sorry. I wish your parents would have hugged you more as a kid, because that's evil. That's evil. That's really truly making light of a serious situation. And Amber, I don't know, man. I think they might need to replace you in Aquaman, because Aquaman wasn't top of my list of things to see, but since I'm a Regal Unlimited member and I need to get my $24 a month out of my membership, I probably was gonna go see it. But I don't know. I can't put no coin in your pocket, because from the sounds of it, the way that the contract works, if the movie hits a certain number, you get points on the back end, and I don't know if I can co-sign that. I don't know if I can endorse that. Like when I watch UFC, there's certain times where I have absolutely, positively no problem paying whatever the fuck they're asking for in terms of a pay-per-view. And I do that because I like the fighters. I like the things that some of them do. And I don't mind them getting a couple of my dollars. Of the $70, $80 that it costs to rent it, they're getting $2-3 of my dollars. I have no problem with that. I'm all about that. But when I don't like a motherfucker, I don't want to give him the attention. I don't want to give them the eyes. Anytime I see some Kardashian shit on my Instagram feed, I wish there was truly a way for me to absolutely just not anything Kardashian related to pop up in my timeline or my feed, because I don't want to give them any oxygen. I don't want to give that bullshit they're talking, doing, whatever, any sort of fucking heat. Same with Kanye. Yo, do it. That's whatever. You care about that shit? Cool. I sure as hell don't. Keep it the fuck away from me. Cause that's how they get where they get to. They get the attention. They get people discussing it. I'm cool on all that bullshit. They don't care about what people say as long as somebody's saying something. They don't give a fuck if somebody liked the movie or liked the person in the movie, as long as your ass paid for the movie. You know how many sequels happened that shouldn't have happened just because the first movie fucking sold a lot but sucked dick? A whole bunch of motherfucking movies. And I can't co-sign that shit, man. You better be confirmed she's in the movie for like 5 minutes. Make a cameo here or there, got killed off, some shit. But unless I hear that, I can't do that. There's other shit coming out. Year 2023, the movie theater's starting to slowly make a comeback. I think with Jurassic Park, it'll officially kick off the comeback of movie theaters. And there'll be some shit coming out in 2023, and I don't have to feel like I gotta see Aquaman to make my $24 a month worth it. So they better do something, because this is the first time I'm canceling a motherfucker. Ah, shit. What else we got going on, guys? Oh. So if you guys have seen, I'm trying the YouTube thing now. And I've figured out how to stream right from my PlayStation to YouTube. So I've just been doing like a season. I did the fantasy draft, and I'm running like 2 games at a time. I think I'm 3 games in right now, but going forward, I'm going to run 2 games every episode. And it's just a way for me to practice. Just a way for me to continue to make content. I'm not expecting a ton of views on there, but you know, when you're looking at everything else on the page, I'm getting relatively decent views, not getting a ton, and it was a bit discouraging until I started to add everything up. You know, SoundCloud used to be one space. I would see it. It would be a nice fucking 60 people listen this week, whatever, 70, 30, 40, whatever listen that week. It would be right there and it would look nice. And you would see the graph. Now all the graphs are fucked up. No matter where you go. But if you add it up, I'm doing actually more views, more listens than I ever was doing before. It's just not in one space looking fucking pretty. So I'm you know, I got to think about it in terms of that. But that's also why I'm doing the practice. I'm trying to, even though I have my beef with Madden, I still enjoy trying to get certain players to certain stats and have some sort of fan theory going through my mind, how I'm setting things up. Like I moved Randy Moss's son Thaddeus Moss from tight end to fullback, and I'm gonna make sure that he makes the Pro Bowl every single year as a fullback. You know, more Pro Bowls than his dad made, and like I got fan theory shit like that going through my mind while I'm doing this. So I'm like, fuck it, I might as well use this. I'm gonna be playing it anyway, here and there, and this gives me a reason to actually fucking play it. But if I'm gonna be doing it, why not practice doing it online, doing it on YouTube, doing it because apparently I guess that's a new thing, people watching other people play video games. I never really understood that, but it is a thing. And it's just a way for me to mess with the technology and get more comfortable with it. But I went off on a tangent because I really came to talk about Madden, and now I went on to streaming. But whatever, just bringing you guys behind the curtain a little bit. Know my thinking. But in terms of the new Madden coming out, guys, the new trailer's out. I'm going to watch it right after this, but I'm not expecting anything different. The game's been the same game since Madden 25, what year was that? Was that 2013? So since like Madden 13, it's been the same shit damn near. They don't have fucking build a team. They don't have create jerseys. They don't have lobbies when you play online. They don't have a whole bunch of shit. The community files section always crashing, never let you upload any created teams, anything. It's a fucking hot mess over there. There's no training camp, like mini game process like there used to be. You don't know when you're signing a guy if he was a Pro Bowler or not. Back in the day, you used to say Pro Bowler. You know you're fucking signing a guy that just came off of a Pro Bowl. There's no camp holdouts when a guy wants a new contract. There's no depth to it. There's no depth to the game anymore. It's all about these microtransactions. It's all about Ultimate Team, which got me sucked in for a year, and I am so glad that I broke free from that shit. Because my life for, what was that, Madden 19, Madden 18, whatever, I want to say it was the one that Antonio Brown was on the cover of. My life revolved around playing that goddamn game. Had to make sure I hit a certain amount of wins every week. Had to make sure I was on at this time because they were giving this away. Like they make this shit super addictive. I didn't spend a lot because I had an idea of what was going on, but I spent $100 or $200 on microtransactions on that fucking game. You know, trying to get this card, it was some straight up bullshit. And that's what Madden has become. Like, I would love it if they even came out with a fucking NFL Streets like they had back in the day. You could build your team up from nothing. You go around, you beat NFL teams, you take a player from their team, you mold your team how you want to do it. There is none of that anymore. You play a season mode, then you get to the draft. The draft is fucked up now. I don't even know how to go about scouting, drafting, none of that shit. I don't know how to do none of I don't get it. Like, and if I don't get it as a person that's been playing Madden for 20 plus fucking years, since Eddie George was on the cover, because we were a game day family. We were a game day household. That's what my dad played before Madden. Before Madden was been out, but before Madden was the only game available, pretty much. We were a game day household. But I've been playing for 20-something years, and if I can't figure out, without like probably having to go watch a YouTube video, how to do the scouting process, I'm sure a 12-year-old is probably having some sort of a hard time with it too. Again, he might not. These 12-year-olds in these video games, they're fucking brilliant with them. But anyway, you get the point I'm trying to make here. So, like I said, I'm going to watch the trailer, and then I'll be back to report to you guys next week about it. But I'm not expecting much to be different. I'm expecting the same old shit. I'm expecting it to be the same bullshit. They throw some fucking crazy word at you. Player fucking Dynetics. Fucking genetics are real. They'll throw some crazy shit out there like that and act like the game is fucking different, and it's the same exact fucking game they've been doing. It's the same game they've been doing. And it breaks my heart because I do like to run through a season, scout some players. You even if they're not giving you the radio interviews that they used to do back in like Madden 05 on the franchise home screen talking about play. If they're not going to give you all that, at least give me enough where I can make up a story in my fucking head. At least give me enough. Can't do it. When you want to relocate, when you want to, you can't even like add an expansion team. But when you want to relocate, you can only relocate to a certain amount of cities that have a certain amount of team names that you could pick up, that only have a certain amount of jerseys that you can pick from. It's fucking crazy. If you're going to sell us a new game, add something to it. So, again, I haven't seen the trailer, but just knowing how the past 10 years of Madden have gone, maybe a little longer than that, I have a pretty good idea. I have a pretty good idea. But in the meantime, guys, I bitch about the game, but it's more so because of how much the game costs. If you gave us this and you charged us $20, $30, I'd have nothing to say. I'd have nothing to say. But don't try to get people like me that want to get the game because we want to run franchise mode, because we wanted to be able to play online and go into lobbies and pick who we're going to play versus just getting matched up with whoever. It doesn't matter if they're quitters, doesn't matter if they're going to use the best team. You don't even know what team they're using. Like, I don't want to do that. But if you were charging me $20, $30, I'd have not a goddamn thing to say. But no, you're hitting people in the head for $60, and that's for the basic. Then they have this edition, that edition, the all Madden edition. You guys are trying to cash in, and I think this is the only thing that you guys have done right, was at the very least throw John Madden on the cover. But here we go. You guys are using this man's death as a way to try to make some money without actually making the fucking game better. You're going to have a trailer that I'm assuming has very little actual gameplay going on in it. It's going to be some CGI cutscenes. It's going to be some old bullshit. You're going to be selling us fucking snake oil here. And then everybody's going to go buy it. And you guys, when people buy it and they start complaining, are going to act like they're the problem. Not that we put out the same game for fucking 13 years, but you guys are the problem. It's irritating because I used to love Madden. I used to go play Madden tournaments at Toys R Us to win the new edition of Madden. I used to, I was plugged in, and you get older and things change, but that price tag sure as hell hasn't changed for them, but they still giving us the same bullshit. They still give us the same bullshit. Alright, guys, I think I'm done ranting to you for the week. I think I got a good one off my chest. Like I said, I'm going to just play that Marjorie Taylor Greene clip for you. I just want you guys to listen to it. I'm not gonna comment on it today. I'll probably pick up on it next week. I'll let you guys know what's going on with some of the videos that I am working on. I'm thinking of doing a top 5 or 10 part 1 and 2 offense and defensive part for players who are eligible for the Hall of Fame but haven't made it. Still working on the Steven Jackson, guys. Life is just, life's crazy. Things happen. You got to work. But it's coming together, and I will definitely have it out to you guys within the next couple weeks. This is why I try not to put a serious timeline on it, because even when I'm not working directly on that, when I'm doing this weekly upload, I'm still learning the technology, and I'm getting smoother with it, and I'm getting more precise with it, and all that shit. So we're working in the right direction. I'm bitching about Madden, but I will have 2 more games up. I'm probably gonna do 4 this weekend. I'm thinking I'll probably do 2 separate videos this weekend. And yeah, guys, we're just working, plugging away, staying busy. Read for a couple minutes a day, learn some shit. Don't read opinion pieces. Read like the Associated Press where they're just telling you what happened, not giving their fucking spin on it. And yeah, guys, just continue understanding that life could always be worse. And if these past couple weeks haven't showed you that while we may have it rough, we may have it bad, things might not be exactly the way we want them to do, we're uncomfortable, that we got it better than most. Things might not be stellar, things might not be ideal, but at the end of the day, man, if you're listening to this podcast, it's probably because you have it better than most. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's not a damn thing wrong with that. But just understand, when you wake up in the morning and things are fucky, you're already pissed off. You could be pissed off. You have every right to be pissed off. But underneath being pissed off, just know, this is good. Life is good. I'm happy I could be mad right now. I'm happy that I have the privilege to understand that I can be pissed off but still have a good life. Things ain't going my way, but I still got a good life. Guys, my goddamn deep freezer broke the other day. About 50, 60 pounds of meat in there. I'm pissed off about it. But again, the fact that I even had a deep freezer, you know, life could always be worse. Cherish this shit, man. You only get one of them. And that doesn't mean you gotta go travel the world. This doesn't mean that you gotta try to keep up with what everyone else is doing. Find the things in life that make you happy. Find the simple things that you can maintain on a day-to-day, Monday through Sunday basis that make you happy. Throw a little monkey wrench in there sometimes. Switch some things up. Have a little bit of a sudden change here and there. But just understand, man, everything is everything, even when things aren't. And with that said, guys, I want you to be safe, be easy, and wash your ass. I'm out of here. Peace.
So Congress is busy drawing vast and in some cases completely unrelated lessons from what happened in Uvalde 2 days ago. But one member of Congress has a very different perspective on things like this. When she was 16 years old, Marjorie Taylor Greene, a member of Congress from Georgia, was trapped in her high school when a student showed up with firearms to commit a mass shooting. She's never forgotten it. She learned from it. She joins us now to explain what she learned. Congresswoman, thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
So you were 16, a student shows up with a gun. It must have been a horrifying experience. What did you learn from that?
Well, what I learned is I never, ever want to be in a situation where the only person with a gun is the one that's out of their mind, crazy, intent on killing people. It was the worst thing that could have happened to any of us, and it was terrifying. There was no adult there with a gun in our school because our schools had turned into gun-free zones. This is because of Joe Biden and the crime bill that they passed back in 1990. Well, the scariest thing about it is our parents were outside the school also wanting to see their children. And I'll never forget when we finally got out of the school, hugging my father and just how terrified he was and how relieved he was when he finally saw me and was able to embrace me. But here's the situation. It's the gun-free school zones, Tucker. Those are the biggest problems. And we have to return schools and education back to parents. Parents need to be able to make the choices. And as we've seen from the information and videos coming out where these parents were held back, and we need to learn more about what's happened and why they were held back, but we saw the reality. Even one of the mothers that was handcuffed, and then once she was freed, she ran in and saved her own 2 children. And if she had gone in with a gun, she would have been committing a federal crime. And it shouldn't be this way at all. We have to repeal the federal law gun-free school zones because the best thing we can do for our children is to protect them with good guys with guns. And we know the Democrats know how to do that full well.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem to be working. You know, we've had it for 32 years. What do you make of liberal Republicans in the Senate, Lindsey Graham, John Cornyn, Mitch McConnell, the head, jumping on board Chuck Schumer's gun control plans?
Yeah, the members of the Uniparty that slither in the Capitol and have been there too long. Lindsey Graham, who just not too long ago was calling for the assassination of Vladimir Putin and can't wait to send our young men and women to war in some far-off land called Ukraine that hardly any American can find on the map. He's the same guy that's willing to pass red flag gun laws that will undoubtedly lead to taking away firearms from veterans because they may have PTSD from all these foreign wars that he's voted for and funded for years now. Yeah, these are the problem people in the Republican Party, and this is what's coming for them. They found out, hearing from people all over the country, how angry Americans are at the $40 billion that they sent to Ukraine because Americans don't want a war. We want our country fixed. And if they vote for gun control, they're going to find out big time that that's not what Republicans want from their Republican leaders.
Yeah, let's send automatic weapons to untrained Ukrainian civilians, but take your guns away. Makes sense.
That's right.
Congressman Marjorie Taylor Greene, thank you. Interesting story. Appreciate it.